Hey yo, what's happening? It's your homeboy Julio Cobretti, back with some more Madden NFL 17. As you can see, they had a update recently that fixed that game-breaking bug where your opponents could see what play you were about to run, whether it was a run or a pass. That was no good, but they got it fixed now. So I might get online and try some stuff out. But right now, what I was mainly trying to show was the new franchise mode that they have. Um, they have this thing called Play the Moments, I think is what it's called, where you don't have to play through the whole game in the franchise. You just play the key elements of the game. And another thing too, I started out with the cloud save first, but I switched it over to the offline mode where you could save it on the system because I figured, everything on the cloud is on EA Sports servers. And you know how it is with the online stuff, especially if you play Destiny, a game that requires you to be online just to play it. Is like, it's reliable for the most part, but then there's those times when it'll be down for like days and you can't even play the game. So I figured I might as well just do the offline mode and save it that way instead of saving it on the cloud. Because if the cloud were to go down, if something was to happen to EA Sports servers, then I wouldn't have access to all the work that I put in with the franchise mode. So it's really good with the tutorials with Madden. They walk you through everything. There's some voiceovers that tell you each step that you're doing. So if you've never done it before, if you've never played a Madden game, it's very, very helpful. So, of course, I went with the 49ers. Gotta have a challenge. They're my favorite team in the NFL. I still stick with them, loyalty and all that. So, what you get to do in the beginning is you have a goal summary for the season. I didn't want to shoot too high with it and end up being disappointed. That's always been my motto. A lot of people say, what is it? Shoot for the moon. Even if you miss, you'll land amongst the stars. I like to say, aim low, keep your goals low, because anything above that will be a pleasant surprise. You always end up, pleasantly surprising yourself.
Once you have made your game plan and focus player decisions, choose to start training and head down to the practice field.
So of course everything starts with the training. Every time I get these Madden games, that's the first thing I do. I start doing all the training, and what it is, it kind of gets you used to the game mechanics, a lot of the game basics, and a cool thing about video games is you can learn a lot about pretty much everything. Um, when I was playing Grand Theft Auto 4, I learned how to do the scoring for darts, and I would have never figured that out if I'd never played that game. And same thing with football. I learned a lot just going through all the training modes and all the practice modes. I remember, I think it was like Madden 13 maybe, or Madden 25, where it was the one where Kaepernick was, first started out, and he was pulling all sorts of crazy stuff, making them big runs against the Packers and taking the 49ers to the Super Bowl. But they had a lot in there about the read option, and it was Kaepernick and Russell Wilson that was using it. And I just learned so much about how that play works. There's like three options with that. Like, you can hold on to the ball as a quarterback, you can hand it off to the halfback, or you could hold on to it and then throw a pass or something. But with this, I guess the main mechanics is just like the different type of passing plays. Just watching the defenders, which receivers that they're jumping onto and guarding, so that you could pass it to the open receiver. It's just about making the reads and checking the different levels. You always hear the commentators during the football game say all that stuff, like going through the progressions, checking the levels, going through all the reads. And you might not understand what they're talking about, but if you play something like Madden, where it kind of breaks it down for you, you get to understand this stuff. I remember reading articles before where people from different countries, like let's say Australia or maybe Britain, where their football is more what we call soccer. It's games like Madden help them learn how to appreciate, understand, and enjoy the game of American football. So it's always good to go through the practice modes. Even if you are a football expert, it will help you get used to the game mechanics, what buttons to press, how to call the plays, and then you can get even more advanced and start calling audibles and all sorts of crazy stuff. Like this one, it's kind of showing you what you're doing as the defender. Like you're the force, what they call is the force player, and you're forcing an inside run. You're keeping them away from the outsides, and you just keep practicing a lot of things that you learn and get used to and get better at is just all through repetition. So that's what these practice drills are for. You do like four downs of it, go through 4 reps, and then you just apply what you learned and then start trying to prevent touchdowns. And then from there, you take it into the game situation where you play through the franchise mode. So with this one, you're just pretty much trying to stop them from getting touchdowns. But the crazy thing is, like, with Madden, as much time as they've had to put into this game, it's all about the presentation, all the new physics engines and all that stuff. Look at the way they be crumpling over each other. It's so weird. It's like they look good at certain points, like the player models, the way they move and the way they run is like pretty epic. But things like that where their legs just be like snapping back and all sorts of weird contortions and everything. The tackle, they look like puppets. Like, I don't know what it is. They need to, I guess, kind of work on that. They've had all these years, just Madden after Madden every year. A lot of people are saying Madden, they don't enjoy it anymore because they've gotten lazy. It's kind of like Call of Duty. It's like a rehash of the same game over and over and over again. And you just are buying Madden for the roster updates or some, little graphical upgrades. But all in all, the engine is just, there's something wrong with it. They try to do something different with the physics each time. And there was one year, it was probably Madden 13 again, where it was just crazy. It looked like some sort of Three Stooges routine or something from a cartoon, where people would get hit and they just like fly back or topple over on the ground with just like the littlest touch. They would just fall over, and it was crazy. It was funny to watch. With this one, it's a little bit better, but there's still little things if you just stop and watch the replays or like go back and watch something that you did, like a recap of the game or the highlights. They do all sorts of weird stuff. And then the other thing that I had kind of noticed too is from my other video, the way that the ball is just like, the football is just bouncing all over the place, and it's something is off about it. When you watch those computer graphic things, and it's just something looks slightly off, you can tell it's not a real person when they try to do the realistic computer graphic stuff. It's kind of like this too. It looks good, the presentation is good, the graphics are pretty good, and it's just the way that they move. Something is off, especially when you see a touchdown or any type of long run highlight and they show the replay. It just looks weird. But this is the actual game where you get to play the moment. So they put you in the big plays, whether it's 3rd and long, you're trying to make that 3rd down conversion, or if you're in the red zone, you're trying to get that score, whether it's a touchdown or a field goal. Or on the defensive end, you're trying to prevent them from scoring when they're in the red zone. Or you got to try to block a field goal. Or it's a 3rd and short situation or just 3rd down situation for them. Then you got to stop them from converting the 3rd down. Things like that. It's just the highlight plays. You don't have to grind out the whole game and do all them. Some people like doing that. I like playing that too, but I really don't have much time to play all that right now. I like my stuff real quick. That's why I like fighting games, role-playing games that you could kind of play for a couple minutes and then save it and then come back to it. That's how I like my games nowadays. So this really works out for me. I don't have time to sit down and play a whole game, you know, with 15-minute quarters. Sometimes when I play these games and I had to play the whole game, I set it up to 5-minute quarters or even like 7-minute quarters. But this one, you just get to play all the highlights, all the big plays. So I'm really enjoying it. And then it has sort of like a, I don't know what it would be called, like a progression system or like a leveling system where you get experience points for everything you do. Like for example, I just made that catch right there, and then you can see that player, he got +3 experience points. And every time you hit your goals like that at the end of the game, you kind of you get to what is it called? You get to allocate those experience points and kind of spread them out over what attributes you want to improve on. So you can see here, making that big catch, I got, it looked like +20 experience points. So things like that, that was really clever of them to add things like that into the game, and I'm really enjoying that aspect of it. So hopefully they keep that for next year and just improve upon it.
And the 49ers drive right down the field and score on the opening drive. And all about timing there on that short slant, Charles.
Exactly right. That was timed up so well. The route, the throw, touchdown.
On first down, it's Gurley. And it'll be a minimum pickup here as it will take us to the end of the first quarter. So we played one quarter here on a Monday night. It's a close game here early on. We're back to Santa Clara after this.
I wanted to make sure to include this in the video. I made it a point to show this right here. But they got a freaking Snickers ad in the video game. You know how they be saying, if it's in the game, it's in the game. I think the first time I ever saw an ad for something in a video game, it was one of the NBA 2K games. It was one of the earlier ones too. Maybe it was like 2K6 or 2K7. I just remember being so surprised to see an ad, and then the thing was, it would change. Like, it wasn't always the same thing over and over again. They would update the ads during each halftime, or like on the little billboards, it would change the ads randomly. And I thought that was so crazy. It's smart. Again, it's another clever thing for all the marketing people. If there's a way to make money off of something or get your product out there, they'll find a way to do it. And it kind of adds more to the realism of the whole football thing. And there you can see I tried to do that new feature of the field goal block, and I failed at it. Oh well. I hope I get more chances. I'm sure I will. This is just the first game of the season, but got a little interception off of it. So that's a cool thing. Just like with the football games, like last night, that game between the Longhorns and the Fighting Irish, between Notre Dame and Texas, that was a crazy game. If y'all seen that last night, well, today is, what is it? Today is Labor Day, September 5th, 2016. If you guys are watching this in, like, you know, days later or whatever. But that was a sick game. It was back and forth. You know, Notre Dame was able to come back from a pretty big deficit. I think it was like 17 points, and then they were able to tie up the game. They went to the first overtime, and then they were just going back and forth. Of course, college football, the way that they have their overtimes is set up differently. So, but it was a good game, and I stayed up all night watching it. I had to go to work early this morning, and I mean, it was worth it.
Basic, a lot of these defenders, they've got it all. Speed, athleticism, hands, a little bit questionable.
That is caught at the 7. A solid pickup of 13.
I was just thinking as we go to this kind of sideline shot after this catch right here, that would have been pretty cool if they put in like an Easter egg. You see Kaepernick sitting on the sideline. Well, right here we got Gabbert. He's our quarterback for the 49ers, and he's doing that running stuff. I never seen him run before, so I don't know how quick he is, but Kaepernick, he was always known for his speed. So hopefully Gabbert, he's got, you know, more consistency with the good passes and, you know, a little bit of speed too. I never really I didn't really watch that many 49ers game last season because I'm on the East Coast in Virginia, and a lot of times when the games are regional, we always get like the Redskins games, of course, and then for some reason we get the Patriots games a lot and Steelers. So we don't get a lot of the 49ers games if there's another game going on at the same time. So hopefully Monday night for sure, the opening game of the season, we'll get to see the 49ers versus the Rams right after the Redskins game against the Steelers. So I'm looking forward to that one, even though it's going to be at 10 p.m. Eastern time. I don't know, I'll probably try to take a nap or something that day so I can stay up and then I won't be so tired for work the next day.
After review of the play, the ruling on the field is reversed.
Final play of the half. Gabbard, he'll rifle this one deep. Oh, this is taken in. It's complete. So we're at halftime here on a Monday night as we send you cross country to our EA Sports Studios in Orlando.
Do this. Here's your first half highlights. Midway through the first quarter, Ellington's got the reception, and it leads to a touchdown, giving them an early lead. Rams take it at the 34. The connection is made in the middle of the field, and the play will come to an end after a gain of 15. The drive will wrap up with a quick pick by the defense. Offense out now following the INT. Gabbard's looking for room to run, and he caps off the 7-play drive with a score. That takes the lead up to 7. So that'll do it for us at the EA Sports Studio. Going back under the lights for the second half of this Monday night matchup.
So both teams have their marching orders, and we'll get going again here in quarter number 3. This will be taken in at the 1. And not a bad return here. He gets it out to the 10-yard line.
Run, and it was stopped by a second-level player.
Goff on third down. Finding time. Feeling the pressure here and taken down. A sack back at the 7. The 4-time All-Pro, Navarro Bowman, in there to drop him with his first sack of 2016.
Well, every now and then you just absolutely outguess yourself. 3rd and inches, and they decide not to run the ball. You end up seeing the end result.
The end result was not good. They elect to pass, and it backfires. Third and long for Gabbard. It's caught. Patton. And he gets it to the 34. Good enough for the first. That one goes for 13 yards, and it moves a stick.
And you can put pressure on them and make it tough. That's only going to help your defense.
A crusher there as it's intercepted. A great read, and it's picked off. And a big turnover there as his guys will get the football back.
Well, I don't think we'll have to look very hard to find our play of the game. That was an absolutely monstrous big play right there. Backs to the wall. The offense has it in the red zone, driving for the winning score, and he says, not on my watch. And that is one happy bunch on the sideline.
So I hope you guys got to get a little preview of what the franchise mode looks like with the Play the Moments new feature from Madden NFL 17. Like I said, I really enjoy it so far. It's the first game that I played in the franchise mode, but so far it's pretty cool. I like it. It's really quick. It's intuitive, and it's neat how all the players gain some sort of experience just from making good plays. You'll see the defenders will all get experience points if they have good coverage, if they're not letting their man get open for the pass, or even the players on offense, they'll get some experience points for good blocks and just leading defenders away from the guy with the ball. And it's a really good feature. I like that they added it, and I'm sure that they can always add on to it. And this is it. This is the wrap up of the game, going into victory formation. Just QB kneeling, just to get the clock going and just kind of end out the game. So that was it. 49ers win 14-10 against the Rams. We'll see if that happens on Monday. I highly doubt it, but we'll see. Again, keep your expectations low. Anything above what you expect will be a pleasant surprise. And last thing, I don't want to go to school tomorrow. Please don't make me go to school. Alright guys, peace. Take it easy.
Meanwhile, for Los Angeles, they obviously fall to 0-1 with the defeat. And they'll be at home next week for a date with the Seattle Seahawks. So that'll do it for us. For my partner, Charles Davis, and all the hard-working men and women on our crew, I'm Brandon Gaudin. You've been watching the NFL right here on EA Sports. The 49ers begin the Chip Kelly era with a win as we say goodnight from Santa Clara.